Quiet now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. You're going to dance until your feet fall off. You're not able to stand up any longer. But we're going to have a show.
What if I told you that the size of a beach parking lot isn't just some random zoning accident?
Oh, I love this. You're saying it's like a highly engineered real estate tool.
Exactly. It's an intentional tool designed specifically to dictate exactly who gets to enjoy the sand.
It completely flips the way you look at a coastal map.
Mm-hmm.
You stop seeing just a simple blue line where the land meets the water.
Yeah, it becomes something else entirely.
Right. You start seeing this intricate economic and social filter. I mean, a beach's infrastructure is doing a lot of invisible heavy lifting.
And that invisible heavy lifting is exactly what we are putting under the microscope for today's deep dive.
Because we're looking at Boston's South Shore, right?
Well, we are. We are setting out to decode the perfect coastal escape by analyzing the South Shore. But we aren't pulling from a standard glossy travel brochure today.
No, definitely not.
The source material on the table is this local guide document titled southshorebeaches.pdf. And what makes this so cool is that it's branded by Pink Door Properties.
Powered by Keller Williams Realty.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes paired with some incredibly telling aerial photography.
Which means we aren't just reading about, where to put a beach chair.
Mm-hmm.
We are analyzing a real estate-backed lifestyle guide.
Right.
The authors are using the physical geography of the shoreline as, like, the ultimate value proposition to sell neighborhoods.
Yeah, and we've got an aerial image here that really sets the tone. It shows this massive sweeping curve of a sandy beach. But the sand is bordered by dense infrastructure.
You can clearly see it all.
Yeah, you see a lively town layout, enormous swaths of paved parking lots, and this central pavilion area sitting right on the water.
It's a whole ecosystem.
It really is. And the mission today is to help you, the listener, understand the highly distinct personalities of these coastal geographies.
Because it matters, whether you're just visiting or putting down roots.
Exactly. Whether you are desperately trying to salvage a Saturday day trip with your family and need to know the logistics, or you're literally scouting a location for a future coastal home, we are going to serve as your ultimate cheat sheet.
I mean, if you've ever felt overwhelmed trying to choose a destination that fits a very specific mood, this analysis is going to be eye-opening.
Oh, for sure.
It reveals how geography dictates the infrastructure, how infrastructure dictates the crowd, and ultimately, how that crowd defines the neighborhood's culture.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if we treat this guide as a real estate playbook, the logical place to start is with the most visible, high-activity areas.
The anchor beaches.
Right. The guide kicks off with Nantasket Beach in Hull, and this perfectly matches that sweeping aerial image of the pavilion and the huge parking lots we just mentioned.
Yeah, that picture is classic Nantasket.
The text explicitly points out that Nantasket is easily accessible from the Boston metro area. It highlights its wide, sandy stretch, a lively boardwalk, oceanfront cafes, and, public restrooms.
It's essential if you've got kids.
Absolutely. And they also make a point to mention the surf here is famously beginner-friendly.
What's fascinating here is that the term beginner-friendly surf is a massive geological clue.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, it tells us about the unseen bathymetry, the topography of the ocean floor. For a wave to be gentle and forgiving enough for a beginner, the ocean floor approaching the beach has to have a very long, gradual incline.
Oh, so it's not just random.
Exactly. The wave energy dissipates slowly over that shallow bottom. You aren't dealing with, like, a steep underwater drop-off that creates violent crashing waves or aggressive undertows right at the shoreline.
Okay, so the geology naturally creates this giant, safe wading pool, which obviously naturally attracts families with young kids.
Right, and that incentivizes the town to build cafes and public restrooms to service those families.
But I have a major point of pushback here.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I'm reading a real estate guide, I'm thinking about buying a house, right? I don't think I want a massive boardwalk and 10,000 day trippers from Boston parked in my front yard.
That's a fair point.
So why is a realty group using a crowded, highly commercialized day trip destination as a selling point for a residential neighborhood?
See, you're viewing the commercialization purely as a nuisance, whereas a specific demographic of home buyer sees it as an amenity-rich, walkable footprint.
Okay, I can see that.
The infrastructure serves a dual purpose. For the Boston day tripper, those cafes and that pavilion make a spontaneous Saturday trip possible. But for the local homeowner, that same infrastructure creates a vibrant local economy.
So you don't have to get in your car to grab a coffee or go out to dinner.
Exactly. The geography curated the crowd, and the town monetized that crowd by building a walkable, high-energy community.
I suppose if you thrive on energy, a built-in summer block party is a feature, not a bug.
Perfectly said.
Now let's look at the other major anchor beach the guide highlights. It has a very different physical layout. Plymouth Long Beach, down in Plymouth.
Right, Plymouth Long Beach.
It's described here as a barrier beach near the historic downtown. The guide says it is geared toward adventure seekers, specifically calling out moderate surf, wide-open shorelines, and conditions perfect for kiteboarding and water sports.
While still offering easy access to restaurants and public parking, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, the phrase barrier beach changes the entire physical dynamic. A barrier beach is a very specific geological formation.
Like a sandbar.
Sort of. It's essentially a long, narrow spit of sand that runs parallel to the mainland, acting as a physical shield for the coastline behind it. And because it sticks out into the water, it is highly exposed to the open ocean weather patterns.
Which explains the kiteboarding. I always assumed kiteboarding just required, I don't know, a windy day anywhere on the coast.
A lot of people think that.
But the guide pairs the sport specifically with this wide open barrier geography.
Yeah, because kiteboarding requires highly specific aerodynamic conditions. You need consistent, unobstructed wind fetches.
Wind fetches?
Yeah, meaning the wind can travel over a long distance of flat water without hitting buildings or cliffs or dense forests that would disrupt the airflow.
Oh, that makes sense. So the exposed nature of a barrier beach provides that clean, continuous wind tunnel.
Precisely. Furthermore, the moderate surf provides the physical ramps the boarders need to launch into the air.
It's essentially an outdoor adventure gym carved by the wind and ocean currents.
That's a great way to put it.
So with Nantasket, you are buying into the walkable, cafe-lined block party. With Plymouth Long Beach, you are buying into high adrenaline, exposed ocean elements that just happen to be a short drive from a historic downtown.
Two very different vibes.
Very different. But let's shift gears. The source document pivots away from these highly engineered, bustling hubs and moves into a totally different category.
This is where the contrast really stands out.
Yeah. If the first group of beaches is where you go to be seen and be active, where do you go when you want to disappear?
We enter the realm of the residential retreats. This is where the subtleties of real estate marketing become incredibly revealing.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The guide introduces Humarock Beach in Situate.
Humarock.
It's described as tucked away in a residential area, boasting gentle surf, minimal crowds, and being heavily favored by locals and beachcombers.
Sounds lovely.
It does, but there is a very deliberate, crucial detail buried in the property description. Summer parking is notoriously limited.
And that right there is the golden ticket. To a casual reader looking for a day trip, limited parking sounds like a frustrating logistical warning.
Yeah, like, don't bother coming.
Exactly. But to a prospective high buyer reading a Keller Williams guide, it is an incredibly attractive feature.
I want to pause on that because it's a brilliant reframe. To me, Humarock sounds like an exclusive club, and that tiny, notoriously limited parking lot is just the velvet rope.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is the architecture of exclusivity through artificial scarcity.
Oh, wow. Artificial scarcity.
Yeah. If a town deliberately chooses not to pave over land to build massive parking lots, like we saw in the aerial photo of Nantasket, they physically cap the number of non-residents who can access the shoreline on any given day.
Because there's simply nowhere to put their cars.
Right. The lack of infrastructure is the ultimate form of crowd control. If you own a house in Humarock, that velvet rope keeps the Boston metro crowds out, ensuring the beach remains a quiet extension of your private living space.
You are literally buying the barrier to entry.
You really are.
And speaking of physical barriers, the guide brings up Powder Point Beach in Duxbury next.
Another fascinating spot.
The document paints it as picturesque and uncrowded, but geographically it has a massive quirk. It is connected to the mainland by the iconic Powder Point Bridge.
A literal bridge you have to cross.
Right. And the guide notes it features minimal waves, making it a haven for paddleboarding, kayaking, safe wading, and it's specifically favored by solo travelers or couples.
See, the bridge acts as both a physical choke point and a psychological filter.
A psychological filter.
Yeah. When you have a car packed with a family, heavy coolers, and beach chairs, Human nature dictates seeking the path of least resistance.
Right, like a straight shot highway to a massive parking lot with a pavilion.
Exactly. Navigating a specific wooden bridge to reach a quieter shore demands intention. It's not a casual choice.
It naturally filters out the casual impulse day tripper who is just driving down the coast looking for the easiest place to pull over.
Furthermore, the geography protected by that bridge explains the activities they listed. Minimal waves imply waters that are shielded from the aggressive open ocean swells.
Which you need for things like paddleboarding.
Exactly. Paddleboarding requires flat, stable water to maintain balance, so the geography insulates the water from the wind, while the bridge insulates the sand from the crowds.
So it's labeled a hidden gem, not because it's actually invisible, but because it is geographically and infrastructurally insulated.
That's spot on.
Rounding out this category of retreats is White Horse Beach in Plymouth. The guide describes it as a less crowded option with soft sand, gentle waves, and plenty of room to spread out.
Room to spread out is key there.
Yeah, it's positioned as a quiet getaway favored by families and locals.
Notice the contrast in spatial distribution here. At the high-activity anchor beaches, people tolerate being packed towel to towel because the draw is the energy, the cafes and the boardwalk.
Right.
But at Whitehorse, the value proposition is that room to spread out. The luxury being sold isn't a nearby restaurant. The luxury is sheer personal space.
Okay, let me stop you there because I'm struggling with the long-term economics of this.
Sure, what's the hang-up?
If I buy a home in one of these residential retreats, Humarock, Powder Point, or White Horse, I have plenty of personal space, but I also have zero infrastructure.
Sure.
I have to get in my car and drive to get a coffee or find a public restroom. Doesn't the complete lack of walkable amenities actually devalue the real estate?
It doesn't devalue it. It splits the market into distinct buyer personas.
Oh, interesting.
The buyer who values convenience and commercial energy will prioritize Nantasket and just accept the noise. But the buyer who prioritizes tranquility views commercial infrastructure as a threat to their peace.
I guess that makes sense.
In the luxury real estate market, insulation from the public often commands a higher premium than proximity to a coffee shop. You are paying a premium for the silence, the lack of infrastructure guarantees.
That is fascinating. The absence of asphalt is literally a luxury amenity.
It really is.
But the source document reveals a third, totally unique geographic category on the South Shore that doesn't quite fit into the bustling boardwalks or the gate-kept residential coves.
Oh, the canal beaches.
Yeah, these are beaches defined not just by the open ocean, but by a massive piece of man-made geography, the Cape Cod Canal.
The introduction of the canal fundamentally alters the physical water dynamics of the region. It creates highly specialized, almost localized microecosystems.
The guide highlights two specific spots associated with the canal, and this is where I really need your help making sense of the map. First is Sagamore Beach in Bourne. It sits right on the edge of the Cape Cod Canal. The guide describes it as a quiet alternative to busy Cape spots known for light surf, calm waters perfect for safe swimming, and the highly specific activity of watching boat traffic pass through the canal.
Right, it's essentially a spectator beach. The draw isn't necessarily getting in the water, but observing the maritime commerce and recreation from a sheltered vantage point.
Exactly. Wait, moving on to the second spot, we have Scusset Beach in Sandwich. Now, Scusset is located right at the mouth of the canal.
A very different location.
And unlike the quiet, calm edge of Sagamore, the guide describes Scusset as massive. It boasts an expansive layout, picnic areas, actual camping grounds, ample parking, and on-site food and restrooms.
It's a whole state park operation.
But the wildly confusing part to me is the activities list. Scusset offers swimming, surfing, fishing, and bird watching.
The biodiversity and the kinetic energy of the water at Scusset are completely different from Sagamore.
But how is that possible? I'm looking at the layout, and Sagamore and Scusset are attached to the exact same body of water, the Cape Cod Canal. They are practically neighbors.
They're very close, yeah.
How does Sagamore offer calm, light surf for a quiet picnic, while Scusset is this chaotic, high-energy hub of surfing and fishing? It's the same water.
This raises an important question. You're assuming the water behaves uniformly just because it's tied to the same geographical landmark?
Yeah.
But we have to look at the fluid dynamics and the physical mechanism of the canal itself.
Okay, walk me through it.
Sagamore is tucked along the canal's edge. Its physical orientation means it is sheltered. The violent energy of the open ocean swells is broken up and dispersed before it ever reaches that specific shoreline.
Oh.
The landmass acts as a literal shock absorber, which leaves you with the calm, low-energy waters perfectly suited for safe swimming and sitting in a chair watching boats.
So Sagamore is protected by its angle.
Precisely. But Scusset is positioned dead center at the mouth of the canal. This is the exact point where the massive, unrestricted tidal volume of the Atlantic Ocean tries to force its way into a narrow, man-made trench.
Oh, wow.
When you have billions of gallons of open ocean swell colliding with the outflowing currents of the canal, it creates intense physical turbulence.
Like a giant mixing bowl effect.
It is an explosive biological mixing bowl. That collision of currents creates an effect called upwelling, where cold, nutrient-rich water from the bottom is churned up to the surface.
And I'm guessing that sets off a chain reaction.
Exactly. Those nutrients attract massive blurs of phytoplankton. Small bait fish swarm in to eat the plankton. Larger predator fish arrive to hunt the bait fish. And finally, the shorebirds dive in to hunt everything near the surface.
Oh, wow. So the birdwatching and the fishing aren't just random activities assigned to Scusset. They are the direct ecological result of the ocean colliding with the canal's mouth.
The fluid dynamics trigger the entire food chain. And that same kinetic collision of the ocean swell fighting the canal's current creates the specific wave structures and physical resistance necessary for surfing.
That makes so much sense now.
The geography at the mouth creates a dynamic, chaotic, high-energy environment which demands the large-scale state park infrastructure to support the crowds drawn to those activities.
The geography literally dictates the food chain and the wave physics, which in turn dictates whether you should pack a quiet picnic basket or strap a surfboard and fishing gear to your roof.
Exactly.
And there is one final brilliant layer to this canal section of the real estate guide. Both Sagamore and Scusset offer a massive geographical logistical hack for anyone who lives or visits there.
Oh, it's the ultimate value proposition for Massachusetts residents.
The traffic hack.
The guide explicitly points out that Sagamore provides a quieter alternative to busy Cape spots, allowing you to enjoy the edge of Cape Cod without the hassle.
Without the bridge traffic. Yes. If you have ever tried to drive onto Cape Cod in the middle of July, you know that the bridges crossing the canal create one of the most agonizing multi-hour traffic bottlenecks in the country. You can sit on Route 3 for hours just staring at taillights.
It's brutal. By highlighting these specific canal-adjacent beaches, the real estate firm is offering a highly strategic lifestyle upgrade.
It's basically a life hack.
It is. You get the iconic Cape Cod aesthetic, the maritime boat watching, the camping, the canal paths, the surfing, without ever having to cross the physical bridge.
You are buying all of the geographical convenience and avoiding the logistical penalty of the bottleneck. It really proves that when you're looking at coastal properties, you are buying the macro-level highway patterns just as much as you are buying the ocean view.
The guide uses the beaches as a proxy for the entire lifestyle package.
So what does this all mean? We have taken that simple binary blue line on the map and shattered it into distinct, highly engineered microcultures.
We really have.
We navigated the vibrant, high-infrastructure anchors like Nantasket, where the gradual ocean floor and massive parking lots invite commercial energy and a walkable neighborhood.
And then we swung to the complete opposite end.
Right, we uncovered the residential retreats of Humarock and Powder Point, where physical choke points like bridges and notoriously limited parking act as a velvet rope to preserve tranquility.
Artificial scarcity at its finest.
And finally, we decoded the kinetic physics of the Cape Cod Canal, where the sheltered edge offers calm boat watching, while the turbulent mouth triggers an entire ecological food chain.
It forces you to realize that a successful trip to the beach, or a successful multi-decade move to the coast, isn't just a matter of finding a spot where the dirt stops and the water begins.
It's so much more than that.
You have to match your exact psychological needs, your family's logistical limits, and your tolerance for crowds to the highly specific geological features of the shoreline. You aren't just picking a beach, you are selecting an ecosystem.
And that leaves you with a fascinating question to mull over the next time you are packing up the car. If a real estate firm uses the exact physical layout of a beach to signal the cultural values of a neighborhood, what does your favorite local spot actually say about you?
Oh, that's a great question.
When you close your eyes and picture the ultimate coastal escape, are you craving the loud, accessible energy of a commercial boardwalk? Are you secretly seeking the gate-kept exclusivity of a hidden cove with a frustratingly tiny parking lot? Or do you just want a quiet, sheltered balcony on the edge of a canal to sit and watch the ships roll by?
It really makes you think about what you value.
The next time you look at a map, remember, you aren't just looking at the edge of the land. You're looking at a mirror of what you value most. If you have any questions about this episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Aldred a call. He would love to speak with you. Jim believes that people in transition often feel anxious about buying or selling a home, and he provides them with the guidance and security to help your family move on smoothly. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Pink Door Podcast.